From the frozen ranges of Cold Regions Test Center, this is Outpost Outspoken. Outpost Outspoken is the official podcast of U.S. Army Human Proving Ground, which conducts natural environment testing of military equipment in Arizona, Alaska, and the tropics. Hello, I'm Mark Schauer. U.S. Army Cold Regions Test Center's extreme environment and highly technical test mission requires special stuff to succeed. Steven Prewitt, a Marine Corps veteran and current Army National Guard NCO with a test background as a civilian with the Marine Corps, was a perfect fit. You have an extensive test background, but how did you wind up in Alaska at Cold Regions Test Center a couple of years ago?
My family and I, my son had graduated high school. My brother-in-law was retiring from the Air Force, and he and his family were moving to Alaska. We saw it as an opportunity to look for a job in Alaska. We weren't really tied to anything at the time. And so I got on USA Jobs, having been a former federal employee, and saw the posting for the job. In the odd amount of the things they were looking for in the position description, it was very unique. And in reading the position description, it was uncanny how it lined up to my experience. So so I applied for it and was interviewed and I think really hit it off with the interviewing team and they offered to bring me up here. So my wife was excited about it. It got us closer to the nieces and nephews, and we get to watch them play hockey and things like that. And so it's wonderful.
Had you heard of Cold Regions Test Center prior to applying for the job?
I had, in my time working for the Marine Corps as a civilian, I was not familiar with it, but I had heard of the cold natural environment testing that took place up here in Delta Junction. And that's about the extent of what I knew, that there was an Army test center up here, and that's really all. I'd never been in this part of the state before. I'd been to Fairbanks, and I'd been to Anchorage before, but never here.
What was your impression of your test officer duties once you started here?
I was a little overwhelmed, to be honest. It's amazing. Test officers, especially at Cold Regions Test Center, kind of touch everything. So all aspects of planning the test, as well as arrangement of the test support and sometimes even you're your own test support. Snow has to be moved, or targets and things have to be moved. It's a small environment. We've got limited resources, and so we all tend to help one another, when possible. So I like that. You're not kind of pigeonholed into one specific duty, or we kind of have to do a little bit of everything.
And when these problems come up, it's in an extremely brutally cold weather. You can have 40, 50 below zero here.
Yes, sir. Sometimes it takes some creative thinking and planning. And always being aware, of what's going on. And the weather here changes really quickly too. And so, being able to have things, we've got the meteorology department here. They've got instrumentation set up throughout the training area, and it can be very different. The weather can be very different from one site to another. And so being able to be constantly aware of that's a very vital tool to being able to plan and do things in the extreme cold.
And a lot of these tests, there's soldier participation, so you've got to be mindful of keeping them safe as well, as well as getting your death.
Yeah. So that's one of the things with the next generation test, in specifically was being able to keep a close monitoring of the soldiers. They've provided medics, and being in constant contact with their medics in their condition, and their command team has been very important, especially on this test.
What's your impression of the CRTC workforce?
So it's hard to say that I've ever worked with a harder working or more caring group of people. I think everyone in our organization feels like part of a team. And it starts with our commander, Colonel Brown. He instills that, I think, and personifies that even, that it's a team effort, and we're definitely stronger together, and we can provide more to the customers that we have, by working collectively together. But even outside of work, everybody has your interests at heart, and they know you're new, and so, hey, make sure, that you got a snow blower, or make sure that you're, getting your vehicle winterized or having the right tires on your vehicle. And so everybody's real helpful in trying to make sure that you're prepared, even outside of work. If you don't have to worry about those things, then you can concentrate about the things here. And then, we've got people in different capacities here that were test officers that have moved on to other things, even our safety department or our physical security folks. And, they're real quick to help coach and guide and mentor, the senior test officers here. They're real gracious with their mentoring and trying to make sure that you're comfortable executing the tasks and things at hand. So it's like a big family, really, and it's comforting to know, that you're able to do your job, and everybody has kind of a vested interest in how you do as an individual too. So I think that's my impression here. It's one of the most amazing places I've ever worked.
Steve, it was really good talking with you today.
Yes, sir.
After serving in Vietnam, Gene Eggleston and his wife Mindy moved from Lake Tahoe to Alaska to settle and raise a family. After retiring from a career with the Alaska Department of Transportation, he took a series of seasonal jobs at Cold Regions Test Center. You'd been in Delta Junction a long time before you worked for CRTC, but how familiar were you with CRTC before you started working here?
Well, before CRTC, I was good friends with people with NWTC, which used to be here at Greeley. It's now at Fort Wainwright. I knew the soldiers from there through ski patrolling at Black Rapids, and they were telling me about this facility here. I taught my kids to ski out in this lake here at Bolio Lake, and why this new complex was being built, and got introduced to, got to go see what this was all about, but I had no indication that I was going to work for them, until they said that they could use somebody like me with my background, and once I got in and saw the neat stuff they were doing, all the interesting equipment they were testing, it really sparked my interest. And it made me feel good because I was maybe not supporting the war, but I was supporting the soldiers.
Yeah.
And really, when we would do a long test on something, and we actually see that product go to war, we felt really cool,
So you started as a data collector.
Yes.
And this is in 2008, so it was still, Iraq and Afghanistan were hot and heavy. And then you started doing test vehicle operating.
I think I did data for about 8 years.
Oh, okay.
And which was interesting because we got to be right, that I kind of got, it was getting intense doing the data. And I was watching these guys driving these cool vehicles, and I said, well, I want to be a test vehicle operator, and worked my way into that. And the best one was when we did the new Cat Vs 2 years ago, and that was a long test, and that was fun. interesting.
And then from there, you started being an expediter.
Yeah, I said, Kevin, give me some job to where I don't have to really be planning, just have somebody tell me to go do this. Because for, 15 years I had to tell 14 guys what to do every morning, and projects, and I just wanted to, with DOT. I said, yeah, I want to be an expediter. I'll go unlock the gates. I'll set up the targets. I'll do that, and so I bounced back and forth from vehicle operator to expediting.
In the 16 years you've been here, and after retiring from your other career, being a veteran to yourself, do you get a satisfaction that you're doing something for the soldiers?
Most definitely, yes. Especially when it's a piece of equipment that's going to make their business more successful. Yes, I'm real excited about that. How cool is this? But when I see something that's really cool that goes through, I do have, I do feel really good inside, going, wow, I think I was a part of that. When we got to see, when the soldiers left here saying, oh my gosh, I hope my next deployment, some of these boys, these kids were on their second deployment. They're here, of course they were like Rangers, Scouts and whatever, saying, I hope when I'm deployed I have this, and I'm going, I do too. This is really cool. This is legitimate. And we'd see like on the news or one of the guys here would bring it like, what is it, Stars and Stripes or something, showing a picture on the front page of this soldier wearing a device that we had just passed through here.
You're also very involved in the local community despite having your job here.
My wife really is right now. Yeah, she's president of the Delta Junction Trail Association. Her and a bunch of other ladies started the Ski Association, which has, it starts next month, up to 67 elementary kids, cross-country skiing. She's all in and getting people outside. And she developed, with her committee, 2 of the sustainable trails in Delta.
It's been 16 years going on that you've been here. You going to stay a few more years here?
Oh, yeah. We're here. I do own a house in Tahoe that I bought for my folks. And they've passed on, so we try to maintain it, and we visit it a couple times a year, and the rest of my family does also. Yeah, I'm here. It's where I want to go, In the past, we used to go to Hawaii twice a year, pre-COVID, and that was easy to get the family. It was all over the States, 6-hour flight. We could all meet in Hawaii. It's a 9-hour drive to my daughter's house here in the same state. That's 3 towns down the road. And then 2-hour drive to my son's house up in Fairbanks. So, hey, meet you in Hawaii.
Hey, Shane, it's really good talking to you today.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
This has been Outpost Outspoken. Thank you again for listening. We'll see you next time from the forefront of Army transformation.